values. And for those of you who might just be joining here for the first time in this community, I'm Cindy Brockway. I am the founder of Essentials for Peace and Balance. And this is a personal and professional community where we explore quiet yet powerful exercises that help us to uncover our core values and align them with how we live and work. And I am so glad that we're here today, and I'm looking forward to connecting with each one of you on this silent challenge that we did the end of December. It was called Find Your Compass Silent Challenge. And we're going to revisit that and what is the heart of that challenge so that we can review what we learned through that exercise. And I want to be able to share a little bit more about the deserted island dilemma, which is an exercise that I created for the Courage Hub, which is my portal for clients. And I'm going to be able to share that with you. So let me know in the comments whether you participated in the Find Your Compass Silent Challenge or not. Doesn't matter either way. You might just be joining right now and you're going to learn about it. The prompts are still in the group. They're going to remain in there. I need to make a guide and put them in there so that you have access to all of them. And don't worry, you know what? There is no pressure for you to share anything or to do anything that you're not comfortable with. So if you're watching this live, or maybe you're just catching the replay, I want you to maybe grab a pen and a notebook right now so that you can participate if you'd like to, or if you want to just sit back, listen, and think about the prompts, it's okay, because this is your space to reflect any way you want to. So let's talk about a few of the key takeaways from the Find Your Compass challenge. It was a silent challenge, and the takeaway number one was for you to talk about your core values and how your values, your personal values, give you clarity in the things you do on a regular basis. And I'm kind of watching on my cell phone here, and I do see that there are a few people watching, and I'm so appreciative that you're here. Facebook isn't really showing me who they are, but if you're here, say hi and tell me who you are, and I'll try to interact with you as much as I can. This session's only going to be about 10 or 15 minutes long, so we're going to get started, but definitely let me know if you're joining us. So, when we did the Find Your Compass Silent Challenge, the end of December, it was right between Christmas and the New Year. So, kind of that middle ground before starting new, the brand new year. And we started with one simple truth, that your values act as your compass. They guide your decisions, your relationships, and even how you approach challenges. And during this silent challenge, you took some time to reflect on what's most important to you. So I don't know if you were able to uncover something that surprised you during that time, or maybe it was just a reminder of something that you already knew deep down. But definitely takeaway number one is that your core values guide you in everything you do. Takeaway number two from that challenge was that alignment brings fulfillment. So, a big theme throughout the quiet, silent challenge that we had the end of December was just on alignment. Like, how often do you stop and ask yourself? Do any of us stop and ask ourselves, are my actions aligned with my values? And I know for me, toward the end of my career in the public with the public school system, I'll tell you what, there were some years where I didn't even take time to breathe, let alone decide whether or not my actions were aligned with my true values, and they weren't. And it's really easy to get caught up in the noise of every single day, daily life, things that are happening, and really just forget to check in on what drives you as a person, not as a teacher or as a nurse or as a whatever your title is, even if it's a caregiver or a grandmother at this stage, whatever it is. Sometimes we forget to check in on what really drives us. And this challenge was really an opportunity for people to pause, reflect, and realign. So, what I'm going to do after we're finished here is I'm going to, underneath this live, I am going to put the links for each of those prompts in that silent challenge. If you didn't catch it the first time around, you'll be able to participate. All right. And then the third takeaway is just small actions are big, add up to big changes. And I know you hear that all the time. We talked about these small intentional steps. So things that you do intentionally to support you in your future success. And it's not that you have to overhaul your whole life overnight to honor your values. It doesn't work that way. That puts way too much pressure on you. And I don't even know how we could do that, because it takes those small changes in your life that you make over time, simple things that add up to make a big difference for you. And let's say, and maybe you can think of some things too, some intentional steps, some small steps that you have made recently or within the last few years to help you walk more in a line with who you are and what you value the most. Sometimes it's just as simple as saying no to something that you used to do on a regular basis, and you might feel guilted into doing it continually, but maybe it's not working for you anymore. And it's okay to, excuse me, it's okay to step back and to reevaluate. And I heard someone say the other day that when someone asks them to do something, they don't answer right away. They say, let me check my calendar and get back with you. And then that gives them a chance to connect with their calendar and with themselves and see, is this something I want to do again? Or something I want to add to my plate, and then decide how you're going to respond instead of responding right away or reacting, and just saying, yeah, okay, I'll do it. So, and it might be saying yes to something. Maybe there's some things that you have been thinking about or have come across your desk or your computer, and you want to say yes to it. You've been really thinking about it and you're ready to say yes. It's just a simple change or adjustment in what you're doing that can make the biggest difference for you. And this silent challenge that we did was inspired by the deserted island dilemma. So the graphics were an island theme. And it was really a fun and thought-provoking exercise that was designed to help you uncover your core values. And I want to check here and see if anybody's made any comments. It looks like Carolyn has said that she loves clarity, checking on her core values and those small intentional steps. It makes a big difference when you are tapping in to your desires, checking on them. You know, you might not be able to get exactly what you want or the situation right where you want it to be at the moment, but it feels good to know that at least you're tapping into it so that you're not just putting yourself aside, all the way and just going full blast and floundering, just getting by or just surviving, as they say. So today, I'd love to guide you through a little bit of this exercise that we did, or that is part of this deserted island dilemma exercise that I'll be sharing with those of you who have signed up for the to get the complimentary resources for the spotlight sessions that we do regularly in this Facebook community. Let's see. So today I'm going to guide you through it, and I want you to really dive in. And if you're watching this on the as a recording, whether you're watching it on YouTube or in the group, you can stop the recording and spend even more time on reflecting. So let's set the scene for this deserted island exercise, okay? So I want you to picture that you are stranded on a deserted island. But don't worry, it's not a survival situation. You'll have everything that you need to live, like food, water, shelter. You'll have it all. However, you're also going to be allowed to bring 3 items with you. Just 3 items to start out with, anyway, for this scenario. These items are going to represent what's most important to you, your values, your passions, and your priorities. So think about that. And I want you to kind of give it some thought. You can write it down. You can put it in the comments if you'd like to. What 3 items would you bring? And when I did this as a silent challenge, you could put them in the comments if you wanted to or not. You can just think about it yourself. These 3 items that you're going to be able to bring, and more importantly, why you want to bring those with you on this island. So let me give you an example. Would you bring a book? Maybe that reflects or symbolizes your love of learning and personal growth. Or maybe you would bring a photo of your family. And that could represent how much you value connection and relationships. Or maybe you would bring a musical instrument of some type, something that symbolizes your creativity and self-expression, maybe a rain stick or a drum or a flute, who knows? But you get to bring those 3 items. And they're symbolic items. So I want you to think beyond the item itself, beyond the physical item, and focus what it really means to you, why you would choose that item. These are not just things. When you're working on this exercise, these are reflections of what matters most in your mind and in your heart. So if you're watching the replay, pause for just a second, and maybe 60 seconds, and write down what those 3 items are. And then, or just think quietly about them if you want to. And remember, there are no right or wrong answers here. This is about you and what's important to you. It can be something really trivial, but it means a lot to you, and that's okay. So just spend a minute or two writing that down. And as we get ready to wrap up our little spotlight here on the deserted island dilemma, um, I want you to think about those three items that you chose. Let's unpack them. Ask yourself a few questions like, what values do these items represent? So think about those three items that you've written down. You can post them in the comments if you want to, or just do it silently. That works either way for me. So those three items, what value do they represent? And how do these values show up in your life right now? And think again too, is there a value that you want to prioritize more moving forward? Because we know that this is only an exercise, and it's really symbolic of what we're looking for in the coming, in the coming year. Hey there, I see somebody else talking on here. Endless blessings for 2025. Wow, what a beautiful reflection. I love that. I love that, Raz. It's beautiful. Some of you are even putting your answers in there, and I certainly do appreciate that. A book, a pencil. Let's see, what else could we do? A picture of the family. There's so many different things that you could bring with you. And this is just a fun way to explore your values. Not what matters to the people around you or to your position that you hold at this moment. Put all that aside and think about those things that help you clarify what truly matters to you right now. This exercise was really a reminder of what your values are, that they're always there guiding you, even when it feels uncertain or overwhelming, or like Carolyn mentioned, dealing with some setbacks health-wise. It can make a huge difference. And I certainly know where you're coming from, Carolyn, when you talk about that. A stroke can make a huge difference in your life. And I know you've been working and building on your physical skills and your physical health since that's happened. It's been, I don't remember how long ago it's been, at least a year and a half, maybe, since you went through that. So yeah, I appreciate you sharing your thoughts with that. And when I did the silent challenge a few weeks ago, I just really wanted to help you reconnect with your values, with whatever they were. And the deserted island dilemma is just one way to do that. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of a spotlight tonight on that so that you could have a little bit of an action step to move forward. And I want you to consider taking your values, the ones that you've uncovered, even those of you who've year and a half, take those values that you've just been talking about, that you've uncovered in this exercise, and think about one way that you can honor them in your daily life this week. If you're not already, really focusing on one or two or all three of those values that you would take with you on a deserted island. It doesn't have to be a huge change, just one intentional action. We mentioned three things that we would take with us, three values, symbolic values. But for today's action step, for this week's action step, I want you to just take one. So maybe it's scheduling time with family. Maybe it's working on some sort of a creative project that you haven't, gotten your hands on lately. Bring that out, work on it. Or maybe it involves making a decision that you have been putting off and putting off, making a decision that is really aligned to what your purpose is for the first quarter of 2025. So if you want to share your feelings, and some of you already have shared in there, feel free to share what your items are, to talk about the values behind them in the comments, or you can send me a message, reach out to me in some way, because I would love to hear what you came up with. So I want to thank you so much for being here with me and taking time to reflect today, to share. Those of you who have really shared some detailed thoughts and insights that you've had on there. And I appreciate that because it's going to help others. It's not always easy to pause and do this kind of work, but it's so worth it. So if you enjoyed this exercise and you want to explore more ways to align your life with what your values are, I want you to stay tuned for more opportunities like this. And consider our Mind Moments community. It's a membership community where we get together on a weekly basis, and we have what we call Rethink Strategy sessions, where we get together and just really focus on putting our values first. So don't forget, reflection is more powerful when it's shared sometimes. So if this exercise really resonated with you, feel free to tag somebody who you think might be able to benefit from it. Share this idea with people in your network, and together we can inspire others to connect with what truly matters. Remember, your values are your compass, and they'll always point you in the right direction when you listen to them. So keep reflecting, keep growing, and keep showing up as your authentic self, your authentic, amazing self. And I want to thank you so much for being here and let you know that if you'd like to get your copy of the Deserted Island Dilemma exercise, then click on the link in the comments below to make sure that you have signed up to get these free resources. I send them out in the email each time I do a session. So I want to say goodbye and thank each one of you that were here joining me and sharing. And we will talk again next time we have a spotlight session. Bye-bye.